I hesitated for a second, standing there in the dark hallway, the soft ticking of the clock filling the silence. On the other side of the door, there was no voice, no movement, just the stillness. I told myself it could be a neighbor needing help, maybe even someone lost. It made sense. It was late, but not *that late. Still, that tiny voice in my head whispered for me to walk away, to pretend I hadn't heard it. I wish I had listened. When I finally opened the door, everything changed. At first, I saw nothing but the empty front porch lit by the flickering street lamp across the road. I've almost laughed at myself for being scared. But then, just as I was about to close it, I caught sight of something, a shadow, slipping around the corner of the house, quick and silent like smoke. My heart dropped. I tried to call out, but my voice caught in my throat. Whoever, or whatever, it was, they weren't just passing by. They were waiting for me, and by opening that door, I had just let them in. I stood there frozen, my hand still clutching the door handle. Every instinct told me to slam it shut, to lock it, to pretend none of this was happening. But curiosity has a funny way of making you do the exact opposite of what you should. I stepped outside, just a few small steps onto the porch, peering into the night. The street was empty, just the soft hum of distant cars and the flickering streetlight painting long, shaky shadows. There was no sign of anyone, no footsteps, no sound at all, just the strange feeling that I was being watched. Maybe it was just my imagination. I kept telling myself that. After all, it had been a long day. Maybe I was tired, stressed, reading too much into nothing. But deep down, I knew better. Something wasn't right. I pulled my hoodie tighter around me and scanned the yard, the bushes, the driveway. Still nothing. I was about to go back inside when I noticed it, the small envelope lying on the welcome mat. No name, no stamp, just a blank, off-white envelope. I bent down slowly, feeling the weight of the silence pressing against me. As I picked it up, a sudden gust of wind blew through, rattling the porch swing and making the nearby trees shudder. I hurried back inside, locking the door behind me, my heart hammering against my ribs. Holding the envelope in my hands, I debated whether to open it. Part of me already knew that whatever was inside wasn't going to bring good news. But curiosity won again. My fingers trembled slightly as I slid the envelope open. Inside was a single sheet of paper, no handwriting, just a printed message in bold black letters. **Q should have left the door closed. The message sent a chill straight through me. I turned the paper over, looking for anything, a clue, a name, anything, but it was completely blank. I stood there for a long minute, the envelope and note in one hand, my phone clutched in the other. I thought about calling someone, maybe the police, maybe a friend, but what would I even say? That a shadow moved past my house and someone left a creepy note. It sounded crazy even in my head. Still, I couldn't just pretend nothing had happened. I double-checked every window, every door, making sure they were locked tight. Even though I couldn't see anyone outside, the feeling of being watched never left. Every creak of the floor, every whisper of the wind outside made my skin crawl. I tried to tell myself it was just paranoia, but deep down, I knew it wasn't. Something had changed the moment I opened that door. I decided to stay in the living room where I could see the front door and most of the windows. I didn't dare go upstairs. It was stupid, but the idea of turning my back to anything, even for a second, felt like a mistake I couldn't afford to make. I kept the lights off, sitting in the dark, just watching, waiting. At some point, my phone buzzed, making me jump. It was a text from an unknown number. It simply said, ***, we see you. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. I stared at the screen, my mind racing. Who was we? Was it more than one person? Why me? I hadn't done anything. I hadn't wronged anyone. But somehow I had become part of something way bigger and darker than I could understand yet. And it had only just begun. I stared at the text, my thumb hovering over the screen, unsure whether to reply or block the number. Every instinct screamed at me to do something, anything, but I felt paralyzed. The walls of my house, once familiar and safe, suddenly felt too thin, too open. I moved away from the front windows, keeping low, every movement slow and deliberate. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was out there, watching every move I made. My mind raced with questions. Was it someone I knew? A stranger? Some kind of sick prank? I thought back over the past few weeks, trying to remember if anything odd had happened, anyone acting strange. But nothing stood out. It didn't make sense. Why me? Why my house? The minutes dragged by, every second stretching out until it felt unbearable. Then came another sound, not a knock this time, but a soft scratching at the back door. It was almost too quiet to hear, but once I noticed it, I couldn't ignore it. Scrape, scrape, like nails or fingertips driving lightly across the wood. My heart raced so hard it felt like it might explode. I crept toward the kitchen, barely daring to breathe. The back door was covered by a thin curtain, and through it, I could see the faint outline of someone, or something, standing just on the other side. I backed away slowly, my mind screaming at me to run, to hide, to do something. Before I could decide, another text buzzed through. This time it read, don't bother hiding. We're already inside. My blood ran cold. I spun around, scanning the room, the dark corners, the shadows that suddenly seemed too deep, too alive. I wasn't just being watched from outside anymore. They were here, somewhere close, waiting. I backed up until I hit the wall, my breathing shallow and fast. Every shadow seemed to stretch closer, every sound sharper, heavier. I couldn't tell if it was just fear playing tricks on me or if someone was actually there, hiding in the dark corners of my own home. My fingers tightened around my phone, but calling for help felt useless now. Whoever, whatever, was inside had planned this too well. They were always a step ahead. Then, through the eerie silence, I heard it. Footsteps, but not heavy ones. Light, deliberate, almost as if they were toying with me. The sound came from upstairs. I hadn't even been up there tonight. I thought I was alone on the ground floor. But now, maybe I never was. I stared at the staircase, heart pounding so loudly it was all I could hear. That's when the second twist hit me harder than anything else. My phone buzzed again, but this time it wasn't a text. It was a photo. A grainy picture, taken from the second floor landing, looking down at me. Right here, right now. I was already in their sights. They weren't trying to break in anymore. They had been here from the start, hiding, watching. I felt a sudden rush of terror. How long had they been inside? Was it when I first opened the door? Before that, had I been living with them without even knowing? Every second felt like a ticking bomb now. I needed to move, but every direction felt like a trap. Upstairs, they waited. Outside, who knew what was lurking in the shadows? I was surrounded, caught in a game I never agreed to play, and it was clear. The real nightmare hadn't even started yet. I knew I couldn't just stand there. Every second I hesitated gave them the advantage. Tightening my grip on my phone, I made a sudden dash for the front door. I didn't care about pride or logic anymore. I just needed to get out. As I yanked the door open, cold air slapped me in the face. But before I could even take a step, a figure appeared from the side of the porch, blocking my way. They wore a dark hoodie, their face hidden in the shadows, but it wasn't the face that stopped me in my tracks. It was what they held. My spare house key. The one I thought I had lost a few weeks ago. My stomach dropped. This wasn't random. They had been planning this for a long time. I stumbled back, heart hammering, but the figure didn't move. Instead, they slid the key onto the porch floor and stepped back into the shadows, disappearing as silently as they had come. I didn't have time to make sense of it. A crash sounded from inside, upstairs, and instinct finally kicked in. I ran, not toward the street, but around the house, toward the neighbor's yard. Lights were still on over there. Maybe someone would help. I didn't dare look back until I was pounding on their door, shouting for help. When the police finally arrived and swept through my house, they found signs that someone had been living inside for weeks, hidden in the attic, moving through the walls, watching. But the person was gone. No fingerprints, no clear footage. It was like they had vanished into thin air. As the officers packed up and the night settled down, I went back into my house, feeling completely drained. But just as I was locking up for the night, something caught my eye. A small note slipped under the back door. 4 simple words that made my blood run cold all over again. Asterisk, asterisk, see you very soon. Asterisk, asterisk, after finding that final note, sleep became impossible. Every sound, every shadow made me jump. The police promised they would patrol the area more often, but even they admitted whoever had done this was smart, careful. Days turned into weeks, and life slowly started to feel normal again, at least on the surface. I changed the locks, added cameras, and even stayed with a friend for a while. But deep down, I knew things weren't the same. Home didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a place I had to survive, not somewhere I could truly rest. I spent a lot of time thinking about that night, replaying every detail. Opening that door was the moment everything changed. I should have trusted my instincts, that gut feeling that told me something wasn't right. Sometimes, curiosity doesn't just kill the cat, it invites danger straight into your life. I realized that the real fear wasn't just about someone being inside my house. It was about how easily it had happened, how quickly safety could be stripped away without warning. Eventually, I moved. A new town, a smaller place where I could start over. Somewhere quiet again. But this time, I'm different. I don't answer the door late at night. I double-check every lock before I sleep. I pay attention to the little things, the tiny details that once felt so easy to ignore. People often ask me if I ever found out who it was. The truth is no. And maybe that's what keeps me looking over my shoulder. Because out there somewhere, someone still has my spare key. Someone still knows my face, my habits, my fear. And I've learned one thing the hard way. Some doors, once opened, can never really be closed.